Hey, New Covenant Church, this is the pastor's note for Wednesday, February 24th, 2021. And I want to ask you, have you ever felt like you were made a plan and it kind of caved in on itself? It's almost like you were plotting against yourself, plotting your own demise. Well, sometimes that can happen. In the case of the wicked, in the case of those who oppose God's people, that is always the expectation. And so we think about the fact that all plans are subject to the Lord's sovereignty and providence. We use the word providence to describe the fact that God governs all of his creatures and all of his actions. And so what that means is that all things, all events, all creatures are under the Lord's governance. So in fact, every particle, every molecule in your body is ultimately subject to the Lord's end, his goal. And we know that God's goal is always his own glory. And so this principle is powerfully demonstrated in the book of Esther. If you've read Esther, you know that God's providence is on display in the book. And so what we learn in the book is that the enemies of God's people are a snare unto themselves. So imagine a trapper who goes out into the woods and he's setting down bear traps in various places. And then he looks up and there's an angry mama bear charging at him. And he turns and he runs away. And without realizing it, suddenly he steps into one of the traps that he has set down and it costs him his life. This is how the Lord's providence often works against those who plot the harm of God's people. Remember, there is no more dangerous position to be in than to oppose the people of God. That is demonstrated in and through Haman, who is a servant of the king, and he determined to put all the Jews who were living in the Medo-Persian Empire to death. He was going to wipe them out. And he had a gallows built for one Jew in particular, a man by the name of Mordecai. He built a gallows specifically to put Mordecai to death. And in the end, Haman, wicked Haman, was hanged on his own gallows. In some sense, God's providence is a mystery to us. I can't tell you what God is planning for you today or tomorrow, just in terms of what's going to happen. So it's a mystery. We don't know. We don't know the specifics of what he is doing on a day-to-day basis. So we have to walk by faith. What is our faith in, though? When I say I'm walking by faith, what do I mean? Well, what I mean, though, is that our faith is in the fact that God has promised good to us. Our faith is in the fact that the goodness of God toward us has been secured forever in and through the Lord Jesus Christ. This enables us to walk with him in confidence. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know that the enemies of God are plotting against us. We see this on a day-to-day basis. Some of that's taking place on the desk of the president himself. But we do not have to fret. We don't have to worry. We don't have to build up an anxiety. Why? Because we know that God is our defender. I hope you'll reflect on that in the coming months and years ahead. May God bless you. I'll see you next time.